Good morning, everyone. We have a great show planned for you today, but our question for the day is, do you know your love language? Do you know what floats your boat? Have you ever noticed that some people like one thing and some people like another? We're going to get into that, and we're going to get into how to give the best gifts as well as to receive them. But I'm Carol Henderson, and I have Life by Design. And I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Miss BarbaraEllison. I hope you brought your drinks,
I
whatever
yeah,
floats
I
your
did
boat
my
that
my
way.
my cold drink.
Yes, that just
But
disappeared.
anyway, so yeah, I'm Barbara Ellison, the Wellness Playroom. And you know what? I remember just even being asked recently of what my love language was. And I had to think about it for a second. Gee, what is my love language? And one of the things that Carol said to me at the time was, well, we tend to give the love language that we want. And there was my clue, because I love hugs. I love giving hugs. I want the sense of touch. So that's what it was. So we said, you know what? If I don't know what I am, and I had to stop and think about it. It's like, well, gee, other people must have to stop and think about it also. So we said, you know what? We're going to do a show about, do you know what your love language is? And I truly believe in many ways that we are a combination, a little combination, but I think we do have a primary love language of what it means to us in our communication, in our emotional connection, all of those things that comes up within a relationship. And I think it applies mostly to a romantic relationship, your spouse or your partner relationship.
I disagree
But
on that.
no, yeah. See, look at this. You didn't let me finish. Most people think that. I think that's their first thing. It's like, oh, it's in a spouse, but it's not. It's in every relationship, including the relationship with yourself.
Yes, yes.
Even the relationship with yourself, because there are things that we can do with other people, with your children, with your business relationships, with your networking relationships, with your potential clients. All of those things are impacted by our love language and how we promote it out of there. So anyways, so yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
No, that is very, very true. That is very true. In the seminars Keith and I used to go conduct with a large group of people, uh, that was one of the things we taught at a part 2 seminar. But so often, if think about it, if your love language is gifts of service, and people send you a card, it doesn't fill that void as much as coming and doing the dishes, fixing something around the house that you don't have the skill to fix,
Yes.
taking you out to dinner as opposed to, hugging you.
Right.
Or, and everybody has difference. And back when we used to teach this, we, as you know, raised 3 boys, and each of them had their own love language. And my oldest one loved to get cards. And of course, they came to the seminars, and so they learned about love language also. But he loved to get cards that you just wrote a little note in, or a note in the lunchbox. The other 2 really didn't care so much about that, but that's what he liked. Right. And so that is, you need to kind of listen and hear what other people's love languages are, because most people can't tell you what they are. Right. And so that is, where that you can fulfill their needs with this much effort, or you cannot fulfill their needs with this much effort.
So, exactly.
I mean, for Barbara, just, to have somebody walk around and hug her or touch her on the shoulder, that
that floated my boat.
that would fill up her thing. I had a boyfriend once, and he just, he was clingy, but his love language was touch. He always wanted to be holding hands, or
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is not Keith's love language. That does not float his boat. We don't hold hands in public. We don't kiss in public.
Oh, yeah.
We, or rare. Let me put it this way: rarely hold hands in public. But it doesn't mean he doesn't love me. It doesn't mean I don't love him. But you'll see people, different couples that relate in different ways.
You're right. So, but I think one of the first things is to just what are the actual love languages, and they have really identified 5 of them. And so the first one is words of affirmation. Is that that they appreciate having a compliment or having a kind, encouraging word, verbal expressions of love and appreciation. That's that words of affirmation. Well, the 2 of them, we've already mentioned 2 of them, but Carol, the acts of service. And it can be something as simple as doing the dishes. If your wife or partner,
every day, he does our dishes.
He does dishes, yeah. Cooking a meal, running errands, helping with household chores. It can be that simple.
If you, as you move on in life and you're less able to do things around the house, skills, especially skills that you used to have, but because you now wear glasses, it's a little harder, or somebody who has arthritic fingers and they can't do little things around the house that, a child, I don't mean a child, but their adult child could come in and do some little tweaky things around the house that would make a huge improvement. But,
right.
Yeah.
So
that is a good thing.
Yeah.
They shower the parent with gifts or with dinners out or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that's your love language, that's, but so that's one of the things. What is our love language? So the third one is receiving gifts. That's what I think, what most people think. I could care less if I got a gift. That's not, I mean, it's nice once in a while, but doesn't float my boat, but if you are going to give a gift, the people who really want to have a gift, they value the thought and the effort that was put into selecting and giving the gift.
And see, it's not the key.
Yeah,
this little sign right here. Yeah. Barbara gave that to me when she came and visited last time. But yeah. It's like so.
It took me ages to find what I wanted.
Yeah, because she put in the time. It fits. It had a home. There was a spot on that wall that needed that gift. But a gift just because you just go grab something or a gift card.
Right.
That is special because of the effort and time it took. And hence it's hanging on the wall for everybody to see every week.
Exactly. For some people, the fourth one is quality time. Spending time together, engaging in activities, being present, having a conversation. Does not mean sitting playing a video game with both of you playing the same game, but you're both on your device. There are times for doing that. Absolutely. Love doing that. We're both playing a game. We're both on our devices. Perfect. However, if that's your main language, then you need to be present and do something together where you're looking eye to eye, belly to belly, whatever it is, but be present with them, because that is their quality time. That's their love language. And we said at the beginning, and Carol, this is what got me with Carol. She said, well, we tend to give the thing that we want most. And and I know I'm doing that.
Well, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
In established relationships, your spouse wants you to snuggle on the couch and watch a movie.
Exactly.
But, that may not float your boat. but that's how you love them, is giving them that.
Right, what they want. And so that's, that is, see, like with me, I'm the physical touch. Just, and it doesn't have to be a
So
lot.
on the couch with his arm around you.
Exactly. Hold my, see, and I'm the opposite. Hold my hand in public, let people know that I'm yours kind of thing. And that is what floats my boat. But you know what? And that's the beauty of this, is that there's a little bit of everybody. But one of the things that I think is so missing in schooling, I think we should start learning this in school. This should be part of schooling.
Oh, you know my thoughts on schooling. They just put you there to try to indoctrinate you.
Exactly.
To be good little robots. Sit in your chair and be quiet.
Teach you right, without any consideration of what is your gifts, your talents, your callings. Like two friends of mine, they both work with college kids who are not handling college well. And they both work with college kids. And it is so interesting when I talk to both of them, or either of them. I've now introduced them to each other. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be fun to see what comes out of it. But they both work with college kids that are not handling college well. And they both say, if parents would start kids in middle school, preparing them for college, there wouldn't be the dropout, the burnout, and the cop-out of committing suicide, because they would know who they are. They would know what their calling is, what they want to go into, because both Carol and Moses both say that so many kids, they get to college, have no idea, they're trying to pick a major. Well, they have no idea because they haven't had any training to pick a major about what they want to do.
Yes.
And so talk about not knowing a love language.
He was on our Thoughtful Thursday, wasn't he?
Moses was on our Thoughtful Thursday.
So go check our Thoughtful Thursday for Moses.
For Moses
McCutcheon.
McCutcheon.
A free test you could take at any age to see what your gifts and callings are. Because if they know, I mean, that's one of the beauties of homeschooling.
Right.
You can see what your kids, where their interests are. And you can let them, instead of doing all the things that is general for the general public, you can kind of, I mean, they still learn their reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Well, of course.
You can focus. And I mean, like, I had a son that was very creative. I mean, we spent weeks building rockets, and then he was done with it. And we spent, we did this immersion thing. And my mom, she was raised in Houston back in the Depression era, about, in those areas. But their schooling down there, they would do a 2-week immersion, and every 2 weeks they would immerse in something. And so the kids were able to see and find what they really liked. Now they had to immerse in all of them because it was a group public school. Right. That was part of their curriculum, that they got to do that. And we got to do that with our boys. I mean, everybody loved watching Aaron put off their rockets. Everybody built one. And back then you could put your rockets off in the backyard or at the neighborhood park. They've stopped that here because what goes up must come down. And everybody wasn't real wise in how they let it go up and where it came down. So that has kind of taken some fun out of that. But if it's wildlife, and you go and you spend 2 weeks working with wildlife and such, of course we had critters, so we covered that one pretty well. The little squirrel that falls out of the tree at 1 day old, and the dog brings it to you in his mouth very carefully, and you raise it on a bottle. So, I mean, we did a lot of those things, raising.
Yeah. We did a lot of fostering. We do and still do fostering of pregnant critters, pregnant cats, pregnant dogs, And we have
Mine are like
and
turkeys
that
and raccoons.
and yours are, yeah. But you know, it is such an education
Yes.
for the kids. And we had one kitten that we really thought it was just a goner. And we finally named it, and it was like, but Grace, one of my grandchildren, she was like, okay, well, I'm just going to comfort him, because we didn't think he was going to make it. So he was just very weak and but she just held him and stroked him and held him and stroked him and held him and stroked him. And all of a sudden he started to get better. And we named him Lazarus. Because
his love language might have been touch.
his love language must have been touch. But he is the cutest cat. But he was like, we just really, has a wee kitten. We just didn't think he was going to make it. He was the runt and just, and you know, the thing is though, it was such a good learning experience for her to just never give up. She was just determined that she was going to be with him. And she sat for hours with the who we now know as Lazarus. And it was such a good experience for her.
Yes.
To have that feeling of worth, that she saved a life.
She was needed.
That she was needed. And it was just such a fun thing, because we all, you know, and then of course it was, as he started to recover, it was like, oh, we all took turns of bottle feeding and all that kind of stuff, because we didn't know where the mother was. And it was just, oh wow, just such a good, you know, and it's so important to know that and to do that, and to and that's why I think so many kids are not given the opportunity to find out what their gift and talent is.
Well, and we're such an instant society.
Yes.
That rarely do we get to that level of hours pursuing something,
Yeah.
even if we don't expect to get anything back for it.
Right.
And so often, because you know, and this is a rant on phones and games and electronics, you know, and TikTok, they've got you down to a 1 minute attention span at most.
Yeah.
Stories even shorter, and they're dumbing down the human brain with all this, just to be perfectly honest. You know, when I was growing up, the attention span was about 15 minutes. That's why they put in a commercial about every 15 minutes of the TV shows then.
Right.
Back then, hold on to your hats, the news was just 15 minutes long.
Yes.
It was 15 minutes long. You'd have 15 minutes of news, and you'd have like 5 minutes of weather, and then the show would change to something else.
Yeah.
It did not have.
And the TV went off at 11 o'clock.
Yeah. I hated
and
that.
there was no
to stay out late, and so
yeah, there was nothing after 11. Let's date ourselves here. There was nothing after 11 o'clock.
See, here it was midnight, and they'd show the plane go off, and you know, soaring in the sky, and they'd play the national anthem with the flag fluttering, and you know, and then it was nothing from midnight to the morning. And there were no recordings. There were no.
I look back now, and I can see that. I can see the screen.
And then it went,
and it was, yeah, exactly. And now there is stimulus every minute, every second of every day, of everywhere. It's all around you. And now we've even got it on our watches.
Yeah. Now, and it's fear-based.
Yeah.
It's tragedy-based.
Yeah.
It's not good, happy stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's all negative too. And so if you immerse yourself in that all day, you're going to spiral down.
Right. So that's why we want to talk about love languages, and because find out what yours is. And if you want help with it, reach out to us.
Yes.
And we are more than willing to help you to determine who you are, you know, outside of what you do. That's one of the things that I work with. And just find out how to spiral up your life, because that's what we're all here for.
And as you learn these languages, I need to go back and refresh these. I have the test and all kinds of paperwork on it because we used to teach it. But
Right.
the when you learn that and you learn to recognize it in others. Now, you're not going to recognize it in somebody just on the street, probably. But as you get to know people and you start to recognize those things, then you can give. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I apologize. You're able to give and fill their need quickly and easily, as opposed to constantly pouring something into somebody that goes into a bucket with holes in it.
Right. Right.
And you could just use a dropper now and then, and that bucket's full because that's what that needed.
Yes. So I would just really encourage you to get to know the love languages. I mean, Google is your friend.
Yeah.
Google really is your friend. There are books on love languages. There are so many outlets out there. So yeah, find out. Know what yours is. What do you normally like to do? So
And
that's probably your love language.
How do you
normally give gifts?
What is the way you want to give something to somebody? That's usually a really good indicator.
Yeah, I know I'm a hugger. I love to hug.
Well,
so
and just even before I had the modeling agency, a friend owned it, and I worked up there for free all the time, just to help her because of my background in color analysis and face design and stuff. I would teach. I got paid to teach, but I was up there all the time putting together curriculum and just meeting people and stuff like that. But that's, I was sowing seed for people to sow into me later.
Exactly. So everyone, we just really encourage you today to be the best ever version of you. Yes. And part of that is your love language and the people that you surround yourself with. So, Carol, last words?
It's been really good. Thank you. Thank you. We will
make sure subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe.
Yes. But on Facebook, we want you to comment, like, and share. And on YouTube, we want you to click the subscribe button, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up, and share it out with your friends. We're trying to grow our channel.
Yes. Bye, everybody. See you next time.